What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. This video will be my favourite AFL players from each club, and I got the suggestion from my Instagram story where I put up what my next video idea should be, and I thought that one was a really good one and I decided to do it. So yeah, if you haven't followed me, it'll be down, link in the description if you want to follow me on Instagram, and we'll get underway with the video. The Backyard Charizard has done this video and I thought it was a pretty good one, so I've made a list right here and I'll go over it. Just before we get into that, I'd like to just let you guys know that I decided to do this video since I thought it was the easiest one to do, and I don't have too much time on my hands this weekend since I have got a lot of stuff to do for homework and got to study for 2 tests on Monday. So alrighty, so let's start off. We'll start off with Adelaide, and my favourite player for the Crows is Rory Laird. And as you guys know, a lot of Adelaide players left during the trade season, so it was actually quite tough to pick one since for the last 2 years Adelaide have been pretty hopeless. Let's face it, from their expectations in 2017. I was going to pick Hugh Greenwood or Eddie Betts, but I reckon Rory Laird's a really good player, underrated. He did win the best and fairest, I think, last year, but he's definitely still an underrated player. For the Lions, my favourite player is Mitch Robinson. He's a really good player. He had a really great season this year. Was one of the reasons why Lions grew and spurted into the top 4 and finished second. They did, Lions. But yeah, Mitch Robinson, great player, great personality as well. I think he has a podcast, and yeah, he's just a very tough player at the ball, and he's yeah, just a great player. For Carlton, I've got 2. The first one is, Paddy Cripps. A lot of people probably would have had him as favourite player because he's a superstar. Carlton's best player by far. And then my other one, which I'll put him in there just because Jack Silvani. The reason why he's in there is because he gave me a box of footy cards at the Fox Footy Festival. There was like a prize, he gave me that one. So because of that, I like him a lot more than I did before, even though I still like him as a player. But yeah, for Collingwood, my favourite player is, it was a tough one to choose, but it's Jaden Stevenson. You guys already know of the betting scandal where he got 10 weeks for, but either way, he's still a really good player. He won the Rising Star for a reason. I love the way he kicks goals, just his speed, and it's his 2nd year, so yeah, he's just going to be a star for them in the future. For Essendon, my favourite player is Anthony McDonald-Tipungwuti, and yeah, a lot of people probably would have had him as one of their favourite, or at least exciting players, because let's face it, Essendon's arguably their most exciting player to watch, and he's just a really good player, kicks a lot of goals, almost won the goal of the year this year, match-winning game against North Melbourne, and there's a song right after him, so he's a great player. For the Dockers, I've got 2. My main one is Nat Fyfe, another superstar, but let's face it, he's a Brownlow medalist for a reason. His 2nd Brownlow medal as well, which was surprising. I probably would have predicted Cripps or Dangerfield, but he's a great player, Fremantle's best player. And my other one is Angus Brayshaw. I think he's going to be a great young player for them in the future. For Geelong, this was also another tough one to decide, but I'm going Esava Ratugolea. I think he's one of their best players. Well, not best players yet, but like he's secured a spot in Geelong's 22, and I reckon he's going to stay there for at least the next 5 years. Great hands, great kick, great mark, exciting, hits the packs. It's just a good player to watch in my opinion. For Gold Coast, yeah, it's a bit tough to choose because not many Gold Coast players really are getting the spotlight, but I'm going to go with Jared Harbrow and Jared Witts. Jared Harbrow's been at the Suns since their inaugural season in 2011. He's just a solid defender for them, definitely one of their best players, and Jared Witts, a highly underrated ruckman. I mean, I think he got the most hit-outs this season, or at least in the home and away season, and highly underrated. I reckon he's the 3rd best ruckman behind Gawn and Grundy. For the Giants, I'm going Lockie Whitfield and Nick Hines. Lockie Whitfield is one of their best players. He's a #1 draft pick. Maybe not their best player for Giants. Not sure who is, but He's a really good player, exciting to watch, and he's someone from my school's cousins with him, which is also, I thought was really cool, so that's why he gets a spot at my favourite player. And Nick Haynes, he's just had a really good season. Still reckon he's underrated as a defender, and I reckon next year, if he keeps on going, he could win their best and fairest. For the Hawks, this was also another tough player because there aren't a lot of Hawks players that I like. Sorry, Hawks fans. But Jack Gunston for me is my favourite player. I like the way he plays. He has been playing for the Hawks since their three-peat, and before that, and he for the three-peat he kicked like 5 or 6 goals, probably won them the game. To be honest with you, he's a great forward and he can go down back, and I just love seeing him play. For Melbourne, I'm going with one that probably not too many people would pick. Bit under the radar, but Christian Salem. He cemented a spot in their best 22, and he was, I reckon he's been good for Melbourne this year, even though they've done terrible. He's their best kick of the team, and arguably one of the best kicks in the comp. And I remember watching his first game on TV, and I remember watching it, and I'm thinking, this guy, I reckon he's going to be pretty good, and he is. Like watching him play. For North Melbourne, my favourite player is Taron Thomas. He's a young, exciting player. I think it's his second season, and he's going to be really important for North Melbourne later in the future when the big stars retire in the midfield, like Higgins and Zeeble and Cunnington. For Port Adelaide, my favourite player, or at least the most exciting player to watch, is Robbie Gray. And yes, he has had a quiet season this year, but for the most part of it, he's just been one of them. He's been a match winner. And I'm not sure how many showdown medals Robbie Gray has won, but I reckon it's at least 5 or 6. He's just a star. He won Port the game against us in 2017, which I wasn't happy about, but I've got past that. I mean, Paddy Ryder's now at the Saints, so he doesn't have to tap it down to Robbie Gray anymore, but yeah, he's just, good player for the Power. For Richmond, it was a tough one. There are a lot of Richmond players who I do like. Just for this season alone, I'm going Dylan Grimes. As most of you guys know, he's a really good defender. He got into the All-Australian side this season, and he's been flying under the radar for most of his career with Alex Rance. So he was usually the second best defender or third, but now definitely for this year, he's their best defender. After Rance went down with the ACL injury, closely followed by Hooley. But yeah, I just love the way he plays. A great defender and wins almost all of his one-on-one contests. For St Kilda, my team, it was tough because I do like all their players. And for most of my time at being a Saints fan, I have never had a favourite player. Well, since I was 7 at least, and that was Nick Dalsano. But my 3 favourite players, and it's probably purely based on their seasons this year, are Jack Billings, Hunter Clark, and Rowan Marshall. All going to be great players in the future, and I'm very excited, especially about Rowan Marshall, who I thought was a nobody, and this year he's been our best ruckman and one of the best probably in the league at the moment. For Sydney, I'm going Lance Franklin, another superstar, but I just love watching him play, and I love it when he kicks bags, especially on TV. Like, I love it when Franklin's on and he's playing, Gold Coast, and he's kicking 10. Really great to see, because when he's on, he's one of the best in the league. For West Coast, I've got Liam Ryan. He's definitely West Coast's best small forward, at least, after Willie Rowley's out for 4 years or so. He's got a really great highlights package for 3 years. I mean, his marks are just incredible. Flying Ryan, he got 2 goalie Mark of the Year nominations for the top 3, and he won the Mark of the Year. So he's just a really exciting player to watch. And Lewis Jetta is another player who I do like for the Eagles. He's just one of the best kicks in the league, and he's solidified a spot for West Coast, at least, for one of their best defenders. And also Elliot Yeo, I reckon. Actually, there are a lot of West Coast players who I reckon are good and I like. And last but not least, I've got Western Bulldogs, and I've got Marcus Bontempelli, another superstar for the Dogs, and in my opinion, he's the best player for the Dogs, and the best midfielder as well. McRae, Hunter, and Dunkley also are all stars for the Dogs in the midfield, but in my opinion, Bontempelli is the best out of the lot, and he's my favourite to watch. and he's just my favorite player for the Dogs. And also, I guess you could say Josh Bruce, since he moved to the Dogs after the trade period. He was one of my favorite players at the Saints, but I guess since he hasn't played a game yet, it doesn't really count. So there you have it, guys. That was my list of my favorite players for each team. And to be honest with you, I'll whip this list up in 10 or so minutes. And let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below your favorite players from each team. And if you want me to do a worst or my least favorite players for each team, which will probably be on the tables, and I'll probably eventually do it and get like 100 dislikes for the... But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. I'm gonna do potential live stream next week, and a potential future video that I've got a bunch of suggestions from you guys, and a mega trade unboxing video because I've already received 10 trades from the cards that I unboxed. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon.